Hey guys, it's Adi here with Geek on Gadgets, and this is going to be a comparison between the LG G4 and the LG Nexus 5X. Now both of these are flagship devices released in 2015, although the G4 is a bit more expensive and I guess slightly more high-end than the 5X. Although the G4 has a larger 5.5-inch screen versus the 5.2-inch screen on the 5X, in terms of actual dimensions, both phones are almost identical in terms of the overall, body size and height. And I guess the G4 is more conservative in terms of bezels and dead space. However, in terms of width and thickness, the G4 is actually slightly thicker than the 5X, coming in at 9.8 millimeters, while the 5X is only 7.9 millimeters. The G4, however, hides it nicely with the curvature of its back, so it doesn't actually look that thick, and it feels really nice in the hand as well. In terms of weight, the G4 is also slightly heavier, weighing 155 grams, while the 5X weighs 136 grams. Continuing with the exterior, the G4 has their premium leather back, which they're very proud of, and it's actually a pretty impressive back, except for the fact that it doesn't wear very well. The 5X, on the other hand, has a unibody plastic backing, which cannot be removed, versus the G4's removable back, which gives you access to an exchangeable battery and expandable micro SD storage. Moving on to one of the more important features of the phones, the camera on each device. The G4 has LG's 16 megapixel camera, which is absolutely amazing, while the 5X, also made by LG, has a 12 megapixel camera, which isn't as impressive, to be honest, and it's quite a bit slower. Both phones, however, have the same laser autofocus by LG. The 5X, however, has a dual LED flash, while the G4 actually has a single LED flash, as well as their color spectrum sensor to get a more accurate reading of the colors in the environment as they're reproduced to the natural eye. In terms of the front-facing camera on both phones, the Nexus 5X has a 5 megapixel front-facing camera, while the G4 has a 8 megapixel front-facing camera, which is quite impressive actually, and it's also paired with LG's Beautify feature, which just adds some filters and does some Photoshop, which can make the pictures come out nice if you don't overuse it. Besides the front-facing camera on the 5X, you also have a pair of dual front-facing speakers, which are a plus wherever you go. Front-facing speakers are amazing, and that's definitely a plus versus the G4's rear-facing speaker, which is often muffled just of where you put your hand due to basic usage. One of the more impressive features of the 5X versus the G4 is the biometric fingerprint scanner to unlock the phone, something the G4 does not have. And I was actually disappointed that G4 didn't have one, so I'm very glad that the 5X actually has one, and it's so much easier when you keep on unlocking your phone all day long to swipe your finger instead of putting in a PIN code. Of course, on the inside, both these devices are running Android, but the 5X, being a Nexus device, of course, gets the latest updates and is already running Android Marshmallow 6.0.1, while my G4 is still stuck on Android 5.0 Lollipop, waiting for that Marshmallow update to hit it, which should be hitting hopefully at the end of this year. Although internally both devices have the same Snapdragon 808 chipset, the G4 actually has 3 GB of RAM, while the 5X only has 2 GB of RAM, and the performance is sometimes obvious, especially in apps such as Snapchat, or taking the camera, or opening the camera and taking pictures rapidly. You can see a definite lag and stutter and delay when doing these things. And of course, one of the biggest disappointments for me in terms of the 5X is the lack of upgradable storage. The 5X comes in 16 or 32 GB variants, while the G4 comes with 32 GB internal and external storage up to 2 terabytes. So you can put an SD card in the back while replacing the battery as well, which the 5X cannot. The 5X also only has a 2700 milliamp built-in battery, while the G4's user replaceable battery is 3000 milliamps. Although both these devices are built and designed by LG, there are some obvious disparities between the two, mainly the fact of what both devices represent or focus on, being that the G4 is obviously more focused on camera performance and the expandable storage, the removable battery, things that, LG has stood by in the past years, while the 5X has none of those, but it comes with some features such as the fingerprint scanner, of course stock Android, which is a huge plus for some people. Myself, I'm not so sold on it, but in other places, the camera, both cameras on the 5X, the front and rear facing, are inferior to those on the G4. Which of these two devices would you prefer to have? What are your thoughts on both of them? Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, guys. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys around.